couple things I'm going to discuss with you. It's a culture within the fire service that needs to change. I'm going to touch on that, what I mean by that, a little bit more in depth. I'm going to talk a little bit about where Colerain was in terms of opiate overdoses and what our plans are moving forward. We're going to talk a little bit about where we are right now and what our plans are for the future. I'm not sure if everybody can see this or not. A little formatting issue with the slides here, so I apologize for that. So, where we've been, where we are, where we're going. Okay. First of all, when I say we need culture change in the fire service, this is something that we've implemented here at Colerain. What do I mean by a culture change? Well, that's our approach. That's our approach and our thought process and how we think about people who are addicted to opiates. What causes this poor demeanor towards these addicts? It's probably the fact that many times we get called out at 3 o'clock in the morning after making 30 other runs that day. And it's the same person that we just revived last week. You do that time and time again, and you become a little callous. And I'm embarrassed to say that I was there. I was there up until 2 years ago. And I made one run that changed that point of view, probably forever. We got called out to a 20-year-old cardiac arrest. It was a female. We arrived at the residence. The person that was there with her wouldn't let us in. With police assistance, we forced entry. The gentleman that was there in the home said, "I tried to wake up my girlfriend. I was just talking to her. She won't wake up. I think she's dead." We went into the back room. Indeed, there was a 20-year-old girl laying there in the corner. Indeed, she had passed several hours before. When I looked down and I saw the girl, who did I see? I didn't see a stranger, but I saw my daughter. And I thought, one bad decision led that girl to the corner of that house and ultimately to her demise. That changed me forever. It was that run that changed my point of view. That helped me begin to change culture within our fire department. I met with a firefighter from Middletown today who asked me the question, how do you achieve buy-in from your firefighters? How do you get to change that culture? You do it one overdose run at a time. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do with these overdoses and how this culture has changed as we move forward. Where we have been, I know, again, some of the wording here is somewhat small. 2011, Colerain Township Fire and EMS responded to 51 overdoses, opiate related. Look what happened in 2012, 115. 2013, 116. 2014, 141 opiate overdoses. That's just Colerain Township. That's here. That's right here. We just received this data today from the Ohio Attorney General's office. What they did is they plotted a map for us. We submitted our run data and the pickup locations for these opiate doses, and they plotted them for us on this map. I'm going to try to get out of your way so you can see here. This is 2012. (2013). The size of the map changes a little bit, but this is something impressive that Director Malloy pointed out. We really haven't had a chance to analyze this data because we just got it this afternoon, literally. So we haven't had a chance to really look at it. But one thing that was very stark was, what do you notice? There's a spread. And I'll go back through them again, and you notice the spread. And what we realize is that this problem is not staying localized to certain parts of Colerain anymore. It's spread out. And there's 2012 to 2014. These are the emergency medical responses. Again, where we are currently, that's where we've been, where we are. We started handing out these recovery packets that were put together by the Community Recovery Project, headed up by Carol Baden here. And we joined up with her and we said, we want to do something. We don't know what it's going to look like, we don't know what it's going to mean, we don't know what impact it's going to have, but we're going to try this. We're going to hand out packets based on our professional assessment. When we arrive at the scene and we determine that there's a problem, we're going to hand out this packet. We're not guaranteeing that they're going to reach out for help. We're not guaranteeing that that the help in those packets are going to be able to give them the help that they need. We're not guaranteeing, we're not claiming to be therapists or any type of professionals in this area. We're just saying, we want you to get connected to help. That's what we're saying. So we're handing out these packets. This is what the packet looks like here. We've had some small wins, and I'm going to elaborate that on that here in just a little bit. The Chlorine Community Health Awareness Group formed. This is where we're at today, right? Director Malloy touched a little bit on that, so I'm not going to get too much more detail about that. And we formed a lot of partnerships. One thing I've learned in this position that I assumed about a year ago, as captain over the emergency medical services operations, is that if we want to be successful in what we do, we need to have partnerships. We've got some great ones in this Chlorine Community Health Awareness Group, and I'm looking forward to what the future has in store. That's where we're at right now. I want to talk a little bit about that recovery packet distribution. We began that campaign in August of 2014. Now, when we kind of made a directive that we were going to hand these out, I got a few questions from the crews. Really, you want us to hand out this packet? I mean, how effective is it going to be? We make one run and we hand out one packet. I don't know, guys. We're going to do it, and we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. I had a couple guys give me a little pushback. That's okay. It's a culture change. It doesn't happen overnight. We're going to give it some time. We're going to see what happens. One of the guys that gave me pushback 3 weeks ago called me and said, hey, I want to let you know we're out of package. We need to hand out. Here's why. 3 success stories out of 50 packets. We've handed out over 50 packets since August 2014. We track them in our EMS reporting software now, so we know how many we've given out. We've had 3 success stories. What I mean by success stories, we've had people call us back, thank us, because their loved one has now gotten the help that they needed. I don't know what that number means. I don't know what 3 means. I don't know if 3 is great. I don't know if 3 is insignificant. But you know what? It's 3. And I'm happy. And I'm pleased about that. Because that's 3 more people that may not have been connected to resources had we not been handing out those packets. So, we're pleased. And we're moving forward. Where are we going? We're going to continue distributing out these packets. They've been effective. What's the goal? More success stories, just like we've had. Implementation of a narcotic overdose refusal form. What happens when we arrive at the scene of an overdose and we give Narcan or naloxone, that medication, that magic drug that reverses the effects of the opiate, and these people come back to life essentially. And they're alert, they're oriented. What happens when they don't want to go to the hospital? We can't take them. That's a problem. That's a problem. Right? So they have the right to refuse care. That's their right. Right? We're going to come up with a refusal policy. We're going to have a checklist of things that we're going to go over to make sure that they know so we can educate them, to try to persuade them to go to the hospital. Again, the goal, reduce risk of patient refusal transportation. We're going to push for education on behalf of our paramedics to push smaller doses of Narcan. We're going to push for a protocol change for 2016. Right now, the protocol says we can give 0.4 milligrams to 2 milligrams. A lot of our guys will go for the gusto on the first dose, 2 milligrams. These patients are going to wake up. They're going to become alert and oriented very quickly, like giving sugar to a diabetic. And then they're going to want to refuse care. This happens very often. Right? So we're going to start training our paramedics. Very good point. And as long as their respiratory status is fine, we're just going to keep breathing for them. As long as their oxygen saturation is high, we're going to breathe for them. We're just going to give them a little bit of Narcan. We're going to transport them to the hospital before they have a chance to refuse. Right? So we're pushing for that change. All right. At this time, I'm going to pass it off to Danielle Smoot from the Ohio Attorney General's office.